St. Louis. You can find me in St. Louis taking on New Jersey, rotation number 11 and 12. We've got St. Louis, about a minus 125 favorite on the road, and a total of 5.5 pretty much across the board. From a totals perspective, New Jersey's a one-way team for me, over or pass. Don't want any part of this team in a lower scoring hockey game at this point in time. Look at it the other night. I was able to cash a premium winner with New Jersey and Calgary up and over the total with ease. Kincaid and net. And even Schneider. Schneider's been up and down. He's had a great game. He's had a not so good game. We've seen sort of that pattern. He was fantastic against Vancouver last week, and then against Edmonton, not as good. Edmonton able to get to him, and one of the few times Edmonton's been able to get to any goalie this year offensively, and they got to Schneider Friday night in that game against New Jersey. We'll see what happens here. A little bit of a tricky spot for New Jersey. This is their first home game off that long road trip, taking on this St. Louis team. And that's probably explaining why the price a little bit where it is. St. Louis road chalk. St. Louis obviously been playing great. Nice win against Toronto at home on Saturday night. Very impressed. Alex Smith is no Mike Yeo fan. Just say no to Yeo. Well, so right now we got to say yes. You're doing a good job, my friend. And he's actually kept this team together. And they're, with the injuries that they had at the early part of the season, and the fact that they put together in the month of October as good a record as they did, quite impressive with all the injuries. We'll see if the Blues can keep this really good start to the season going tonight in New Jersey, and maybe take advantage of a little bit of a jet-lagged Devils team. And we've got two guys looking to talk about this game, Alex and Dana. Let's go to Dana here, get him back into this. Blues and Devils tonight. What are you looking at?
Well, I've discovered the chat room on the YouTube channel, so I've been happy with that. That's kind of fun. Okay, so listen, I'm looking at the odds right now, and it's not surprising. I mean, this game opened up St. Louis minus $1.28 on the SBR odds page, is down to $1.17 over at Bet Online. No surprise here that everybody's jumping on New Jersey. But obviously, we know that this is a game of offense versus defense, and in most cases, not everyone, but in most cases, I'm going to side with the defensive side, especially when, as you mentioned, a team is coming off of a long road trip. This is a case where, Jersey averages just over 3.5 goals a game, which is good for fourth in the league. St. Louis only gives up just under 2.5 a game, which is also good for tied for fourth in the league here as well. And this is another game where I like where a team is mentally, and meaning this: two or fewer goals in 5 straight games prior to allowing the 6 against the Toronto Maple Leafs. I always bet teams that have a game right after their strength has been questioned, and meaning, yes, St. Louis, if you look at St. Louis right now, you would say, yes, their strength is certainly on the defensive front. Well, that got damaged a little bit against St. Louis. So I again, trying to put myself in that locker room, and I'm thinking St. Louis is more than focused on playing a good defensive hockey game and kind of getting that swagger back, or that label back as being a good hockey team. I always want to jump on a team that has something to prove. Not that New Jersey doesn't. And of course, we're at the time of year where everybody has something to prove. But that was kind of a smack in the face against Toronto. So I think they're going to come back and kind of save face from that. Also, tell me if this sounds familiar. Goals from their blue line against Toronto. They have 34 points from their defensemen. New Jersey has just 18 if you take out Will Butcher's numbers, which you can't, but still, even if you add Will Butcher's numbers, they're still better. But it reminds me a lot, in watching St. Louis, it reminds me a lot of what Nashville did last year. A very active blue line. They can get scoring from anywhere on the ice, and I'm going to tend to back teams like that. That teams that are not so one-dimensional, they're relying on their first or second lines where they can get scoring from anywhere on the ice, which is St. Louis right now. Also, keep in mind the Blues have not lost to the New Jersey Devils since January of 2014, which is a streak of 7 games. So I love that this number is going down. I have no problem jumping on Bet Online to get a minus $1.17. Maybe wait a couple hours and see if this line comes down even more, because the general public is going to say, Holmesy's playing great. Let's jump on them in a plus price, and that's only going to benefit us tonight. As I think St. Louis gets at least a double-digit win tonight.
There you go. Yeah, I have no disagreement whatsoever with that. I mean, I like New Jersey and a lot of the things they've done, but this is not a great spot for them off that trip. It's a team that Jesper Bratt's the guy that nobody probably talks about. What a player he's been. I mean, I've been impressed with him all season long for the New Jersey Devils. We know about Taylor Hall and we know Nico Hischier, the first overall pick last year, and Hischier's got 10 points already, most of them assists, but still, he's getting on the score sheet. Very much an improved offensive team, very much a faster skating team across all four lines the New Jersey's ever been in years past. But now you're facing this, are the legs going to be there tonight off that long road trip? And if the legs aren't there against a team like St. Louis that knows how to play that checking game, it could be a little bit of a tough one for the Devils. So, yeah, I think from a spot perspective, advantage Blues. And 10-1, by the way, St. Louis, the last 11 meetings against New Jersey. So they've owned this series. They've completely dominated it in years past. And that's a track record that the Devils are going to have to try to shake tonight. Alex is also on this St. Louis, New Jersey game. Alex, what are you betting here?
Yeah, I'm right alongside with Dana on this one. I like the Blues in this spot, and I liked it. Like I said, it opened around $1.30, and now we're seeing that price come down. So I'm definitely going to be, personally on this game right now. Like I said, 10 of the last 11 meetings the Blues have won. Jake Allen, personally, he was 5-0 with a 1.20 goals against, 0.952 save percentage against the Blues, or against the Devils rather. So he's been a guy who has, personally been a part of how St. Louis has done well in this series. And like I said, I always like to fade a team coming off of a West Coast road trip. And like I said, the Blues giving up 4 goals to Toronto, no shame in that. Toronto's a really good offensive team, but I think they'll be able to tighten things down against this New Jersey club that might start off a bit slow because they're coming off that trip. So the Blues, as that price keeps going down, yeah, St. Louis is definitely a side worth playing tonight.
There are a handful, that's a good point you made about Toronto. There's a handful of teams that where if a team struggles defensively against them, I'm not penalizing you, or I'm not lowering your defensive, my defensive opinion of you or your power rating based on how you play defensively against them. Toronto's going to score goals or find a way to score goals a lot of nights against a lot of teams, even good defensive teams. So I don't hold that against St. Louis. And it was one of those games where they got out to a big lead and maybe took their foot off the gas pedal, because I think that game was 6-2, and then Toronto got a couple of goals late when maybe the Blues were already thinking about New Jersey and moving on to the next game. So I do not, give St. Louis, what happened to you defensively? No. They're fine there on that end of the ice. It's just late game. They were running away with it, and Toronto's going to score. I mean, they're a good offensive team. What else is there to say other than that? So can't hold it against St. Louis. Blues side makes a lot of sense from a side perspective tonight. They've got the edge, and they've dominated that series.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our channel. Now, we've put a lot of work into producing all these free videos, so please help us out and keep all our content free for you forever by simply liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Now, not to mention, a visit to our industry-leading website will warm the hearts of all our SBR employees, especially myself. Now, the links are over there to the left, so do check those out. Thanks for watching.